Greetings, good day, and great rising. My name is Jay Z Wayne, and I'd like to welcome you to The Unsocial. The Unsocial is a platform where we do an analysis, a breakdown, and a reaction to matters of clinical psychology, psychiatry, and the overall moral compass of today's human being from a perspective of uprightness. Today we're going to be reacting to a video by Dr. George Simon. He is a highly regarded author and creator. He regularly releases videos to YouTube and delivers updated information according to his perspective. He has over 40 years of research, and his works are all related to matters of the character crisis. Today's video that we're going to be reacting to is titled Malignant Narcissists Senselessly Use and Abuse. We're going to be taking brief intermissions throughout the video as it plays and giving some feedback from the perspective of one who is not a clinical psychologist, a normal, decent human being. And if you like this type of content, please like, share, subscribe, and let's get into it.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Dr. George Simon, and welcome to another edition of Character Matters, the program where we talk about what I consider to be the defining issue of our time, the character crisis that has plagued us for some time now, and that affects every single aspect of our lives. In fact, you can't find a human problem, either a relational problem, a social problem, even a political problem, that can't be traced directly to the character issue. We human beings have always had our character-related problems. We're not perfect people. We have inherent weaknesses as well as strengths. And we sometimes come from inadequate and troubled, even traumatic, formative environments. But we have it within us to be the best that we can be once we embrace and take to heart the principles and the values that I so strongly advocate and talk about in my book, Essentials for the Journey. Today, I'd like to talk about one of the most troubling aspects of the more malignant forms of narcissism. And that has to do with what one early researcher, a pioneer actually, in the field, called the senseless and remorseless use and abuse of others that characterized the more malignant forms of narcissism. In fact, this researcher coined the term psychopathy. Some folks prefer the term sociopathy, both of which are different from antisocial behavior, which is different from the common conceptualization of antisocial behavior, but that's another program. Unfortunately, within the field of mental health and psychology and all kinds of helping disciplines, there is unfortunately a tendency to misuse and to inadequately define certain terms that make their way into the general discourse and into common parlance, but are often misunderstood because of how improperly they're used. But in any case, this researcher took notice of the behavior of certain individuals who appeared to have virtually no conscience.
That is a lot. That is a lot to consume and unpack really quick. I would say that's so far becoming the norm. Especially for younger people, but even equally in individuals in their mid late 30s and early 40s. Um, it's been that way for a long time, but it's I would say becoming more widespread in this day and age.
And who were so self centered and were so self aggrandizing, so seemingly uncaring of others, and so willing, as he put it, to, quote, senselessly and remorselessly use and abuse others, end quote, that this kind of malignant narcissism, expressed as either psychopathy or sociopathy, was really a form of insanity, which is why he used the term psychopathy.
So I think that's important to note because I think it was in the neighborhood of the 1970s where they stopped building and developing um, insane asylums, mental institutions to house people, and they just started throwing those people in good old fashioned regular jail, and maybe even some prison. Oh yeah, and there's a psych ward in jails and in prisons where you know sometimes people don't even survive those conditions, the level of neglect. Hello, Fulton County, but it is more widespread than ever. The good old fashioned spirit of madness is more prevalent than ever, especially in our generation of adults.
He called it a type of moral insanity because it seemed so irrational to him, so unthinkable that somebody could be so devoid of human empathy, of the capacity for care and concern for another, that they would wantonly and without remorse use and abuse others, exploit others, take advantage of others, and with no compunction. We know, of course, that this is not a form of insanity, but it is the most serious type and level of character disturbance.
The reason why this is an important topic and someone like myself is choosing to speak on this is because if you're not intimately familiar with the clinical diagnoses, the existence of the narcissistic personality disorder, and the um, advanced version of it, that would be called the malignant narcissist, is because their condition is actually a form of insanity. And if you're a person who is a highly sensitive individual, or if you have a strong moral compass, or if you have goodwill in your heart, if you're an upright character, and if you're continuously targeted and oppressed by these people, it can actually put the spirits of madness in you. And you're not crazy, upright person with a moral compass. It's not you, okay? It is this is a spiritual warfare, and the spirits that embody these wicked and um, in these wicked and heartless people, they it's not so much the human, but the spirits that embody these humans. They want you to go insane by trying to rationalize the unrationable, the irrational. Um, so that's just something I think is important. That's why we're speaking about this today.
I talk about all the various levels of character disturbance and all the various types in my book, Character Disturbance. But suffice it to say that the most troubling folks among us are those who appear to have little compunction about what they do that's destructive and exploitative within their relationships. It used to boggle the mind that such people even existed. Today, we've become frighteningly used to it, even to a degree tolerant of it. And it will perhaps be the death of us, or
At least significantly reduce the birth rate and destroy matters such as marriage and um, romance. But continue.
cause us untold suffering. Unless we wake up and unless we make character matter again and quit putting other things before it, restore it to the prime importance it's supposed to have.
That is the very responsibility of men, I would say, especially in matters of heterosexual dating and qualifying the women that you are interested in. Worldly, secular, regular men, of course, we are attracted to beauty, and the world is also attracted to beauty. And sometimes the person who's considered beauty itself is also attracted to their own beauty and the beauty of others. That vanity, right? It doesn't have anything to do with their character. There's no association with beauty and to character. So that's also why in strategy dating, you really dismiss and discard the beautiful person's beauty as when you're in the mature qualification process of vetting a good woman for your family. So that's very important for young men to consider when qualifying someone who they want to make a family with.
Let me talk just a little bit about something I've written about many times on my blog at drgeorgesimon.com. Perhaps some of my most widely read articles are on the topics of regret, remorse, and contrition. So let me spend a little time again explaining the difference. Almost all of us, including the seriously character disturbed among us, can have practical regret for some of the egregious behaviors that we might display. Regret has to do with what the behavior costs us. And there are many times when even the most seriously character impaired people among us will have regret for something they did going too far, a senseless injury they caused. They might have troubled feelings about what it cost them. That's regret. Remorse is different. It has to do with genuine upset over the injury caused another. And that requires at least some degree of empathy. And what troubled all of the researchers in the fields of psychopathy and sociopathy, even antisocial behavior, is that some folks seem to be troublingly okay with exploiting, using,
Mm.
and abusing others for their own personal gain.
Or entertainment. Sometimes the gain in that exploitation is just for fun. It's just fun to make sure that these simp losers feel the pain of heartbreak. Isn't it fun to make boys sad? Like, ew, a boy with feelings. Like, you deserve to be played because you have feelings. Isn't that all the chat, most of the chat for a certain type of sisterhood out there? It's hilarious, a boy with feelings. And it's also not outside of it's you know that's perfect human nature. It's good when a boy gets his heart broken so that he can wise up and gain some ruthlessness, gain some wisdom, right? Sometimes you gotta get bullied in order to learn how to fight back. Yeah, yeah.
Some folks who have some level of conscience, and in most cases would not think of exploiting or of using or abusing another, have a remarkable capacity to compartmentalize. This is another misused term, by the way,
Mm.
egregiously misused term. It has to do with the mental sealing off or compartmentalization of a behavior when you're in the mode of exploitation or use or abuse. In other words, Under most circumstances where a person wouldn't engage in an egregious behavior, they somehow make it okay when they want something bad enough or are getting something they want enough that they're willing to set aside, compartmentalize in their mind the egregious nature of what they're doing while they're doing it, to set aside all feelings that they might otherwise have, including feelings of some level of empathy. Now, the most seriously character impaired people among us, the most malignant narcissists, the folks that I call the predatory personalities in my books, In Sheep's Clothing and Character Disturbance, these folks might have some level of regret for the horrible things that they do. They might even have a twinge of remorse, but the one thing they can't experience is what I call contrition. I'm not the only one that uses that term, by the way, it has a meaning. The contrite person, by definition, is crushed in spirit. They're heartbroken. And why are they heartbroken? Precisely because of the heartbreak they realized that they caused another. And contrite people necessarily do certain things because there's damage to repair. The contrite person stops offering any excuses, quits blaming other people, and goes about the work of repairing the damage they know that they did, the damage to the relationship, the damage to the well being of another. And they make it their business to restore. That's how you know when someone has the aspects of character to be a truly loving partner.
You hear that, ladies? Nah, that's a very rare quality. That's as rare as rubies. Um, Definitely all types of proverbs in those words, those those character traits is incredible for any human to possess, but especially for a woman to possess towards her man. The man has a role. He's going to set the table. He's going to set the pace. He's going to have the frame for you to rest around and in. Um, but if a woman has that ability to be contrite in general or at all, especially in, after, or about their conflicts or disagreements, or having a mindset of the relationship as its own entity outside of you, your selfish self, and he his selfish self, that's a marriable quality.
In whatever the enterprise. And I'll have more to say about this in some upcoming episodes of Character Matters and also in some future blog articles on my blog at drgeorgesimon.com.
Y'all definitely check out Dr. George Simon. He's a very important authority on the subject. I myself, as a decent human being, have been studying his works and improving myself and healing myself for a long time. So, I would encourage you to check out his content. Thanks for checking out his content on this platform, which is the Unsocial. We're going to be doing analysis, breakdown, and reactions to content of this nature consistently. And if you like content like this, please like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment. Um, Set your notifications for any and every time we upload, and let's make this a fun thing that we do. Any and everybody who resonates with this type of content, feel free to make suggestions about things that you'd like to discuss. Once again, my name is Jay Z Wayne. You can follow us on all the platforms, and I want to thank you for tuning in here at The Unsocial.